Hi friends, today I want to share a story full of feelings and surprises. I hope you enjoy it and stay with me until the end. Ready? Let's begin. Good morning, Miss Walker. It was 6 a.m. on the 45th floor of a tall building in Chicago. Linda had just arrived at her architecture office. She gave a small nod to the cleaning staff as she walked to her desk by the window. The sun hadn't fully come up yet, and she could see tulips blooming along Michigan Avenue below. Her office walls were covered with awards for her work, and a framed Forbes magazine cover featuring her hung quietly among them. Linda led one of the top architecture firms in Chicago, and she had spent many long nights working at this very desk. She wore a simple navy suit and light makeup. Her eyes showed a strong determination that no one could shake. After finishing top of her class at the University of Chicago, she started her own firm at 30. Reaching $10 million in yearly earnings hadn't been easy. There was a voicemail from her mom. Linda, we're off to Hawaii, it's Ashley's birthday. Linda was one of the top real estate agents in Chicago's wealthy North Shore. On weekends, she threw fancy brunch parties at her big old mansion. She loved showing off and being surrounded by her rich friends. In the background of the message, Linda could hear her younger sister. Mom, this hotel room is amazing. Ashley was a popular lifestyle influencer with over 1 million followers. She was supposed to be running an architecture company too, but she didn't know much about business. Still, her flashy social media posts brought in clients. Her pictures from luxury hotels like the Ritz-Carlton often got over 100,000 likes, and she was often in the news, relaxing on yachts and at fancy spas. Linda had texted Ashley, asking, "Is work okay?" But instead of a reply, their stepfather, Robert, called her. Linda, can you take care of all the family paperwork this week? Robert was an investment banker and had married Linda 10 years ago. He acted polite in public but secretly looked down on Linda. He bought a new luxury car every year. His newest was a Bentley. He never missed his ski trips to Aspen. Unlike the others, he didn't even pretend to be kind to Linda. I understand, she said quietly and hung up. She looked at her Cartier watch, a gift from her late father. Outside, the sun was finally rising. In the distance, she could see her own apartment in Wicker Park. Just last night, she had stayed up late working on her sister's business finances, even though it was supposed to be Ashley's job. The company's management was in a precarious state. Next week would be her 35th birthday. Last year, the year before, and the year before that, there had never been any birthday wishes from her family. She was always missing from the family photos her mother took in Palm Beach. When asked about vacation plans, she would make excuses about work, though she knew the truth was that no one ever tried to invite her. At night, after returning home from work, Linda opened an old album. Photos from before her father passed away, a family of 4, arms around each other, smiling. Back then, her mother had loved Linda too. After her father's funeral, her mother changed rapidly. While her devotion to her younger daughter increased, her interest in her eldest daughter faded. A tear fell onto the high-quality Crane Company stationery. Still, she continued to work for her family without changing her expression, carrying deep emotions locked away in her heart. Trust from wealthy clients, respect from employees, but the one thing she wanted most, love from her family, was always just out of reach. On the 45th floor of Willis Tower, Linda finished her final presentation. From the 30-foot-high conference room windows, the Chicago skyline spread out in the spring twilight. The green of Millennium Park, where tulips bloomed in full glory, was bathed in orange sunset light. Miss Walker, thank you for the excellent proposal. We'll be providing you with a special bonus. The executive of a major developer extended his hand with a broad smile. This single project would increase annual revenue by 20%. The perfect birthday gift had arrived. Executives, one after another, offered their congratulations. Chicago's architectural giants praised her achievements. Being named chief director of a once-in-20 years major redevelopment project would surely mark a new turning point in her career. Returning to her office, she found a small bouquet from her staff on her desk. The combination of white callis and blue delphiniums showed how well they knew her preferences. The card, reading "Happy Birthday, Linda," bore the signatures of all employees. She felt a warmth in her chest. Nigel, the chief designer, quietly offered her coffee. "Boss, Please leave early today. Enjoy celebrating with your family. Smiling at those words, Linda changed into a navy cocktail dress she had recently purchased from a luxury boutique. The fine de la Renta fabric enhanced her dignified presence. She applied her makeup a bit more carefully than usual and fastened her father's Cartier watch around her wrist. This year might be different. Such hope swelled slightly in her heart. Driving north on Lakeshore Drive in the twilight, she reminisced about memories with her family before her father passed away. They would always take this road to a downtown restaurant for her birthday. Now, even those memories weren't shared with her mother and sister. As she approached the affluent Wicker Park neighborhood, several unfamiliar luxury cars were parked in front of her mother's house, two of the latest Rolls-Royce Ghosts, a Ferrari Portofino, and her stepfather's brand-new Bentley Continental GT. The usually quiet street showed unusual activity tonight. Opening the front door, she could hear lively laughter coming from the living room, lit by baccarat crystal chandeliers. This 1920s historic building embodied her mother's good taste, exuding both classical and modern elegance. The sound of Dom Perignon rose champagne being uncorked, high-end French catering by a Michelin-starred chef. From her mother's reception room, she could see relatives dressed in evening gowns. Everyone, thank you for viewing my new jewelry collection. Her mother Linda's voice rang out, a crystal glass in hand. She wore a broad smile. A custom-made Cartier diamond necklace sparkled in the chandelier light beside her. Notable society figures offered their congratulations. Mom, the Instagram live stream is getting such a huge response, over 500,000 views already. Ashley was elated, holding the latest iPhone 15 Pro Max. Her dress was apparently a direct shipment from Dior in Paris. As a social media influencer, such glamorous scenes were her specialty. The moment Linda stepped into the living room, conversation briefly stopped. A frozen silence descended for just a moment. Oh, Linda, you're early today. Her mother wore a slightly confused expression. Clear disgust showed in her eyes. What's happening here? Linda asked. Her sister answered lightly, her red Louboutin heels clicking as she gracefully approached. It's Mom's new jewelry collection debut party. Today was the only day everyone's schedules aligned. Her stepfather Robert, tilting his crystal glass, added, "Can you handle the party cleanup?" Her mother, wearing a radiant smile, added, "Oh yes, it was your birthday today, wasn't it?" Everyone laughed and raised their champagne glasses. The sound reflected off the crystal chandeliers, echoing endlessly. Not a single person offered birthday wishes to her. Linda quietly climbed the stairs. The thick Persian carpet gently muffled her footsteps. Entering her old room, she took out Crane Company's premium stationery. Taking her father's keepsake Montblanc fountain pen, she began recording the truth. Fighting back tears, she transformed all her thoughts into words. The reality of her sister's company's mounting deficits behind the glamorous social media posts. The truth about her mother's real estate dealings, traces of illegal transactions and tax evasion. The reality of her stepfather's investment firm, evidence of client fund misappropriation, and all the evidence of how she had been secretly supporting everything. Records of countless nights spent maintaining the family's pretenses and vanity. She carefully placed the letter in an envelope and left it on the living room table. The truth, recorded on the finest cotton paper, had the power to instantly destroy this house of pretense. Packing minimal necessities in her Louis Vuitton travel bag, she made a reservation at a Michelin-starred restaurant on her smartphone. "We have prepared the chef's table for one this evening." Elena's concierge responded politely on the other end of the line. Downstairs, the party's cheers continued, the sound of champagne corks popping, high society's elegant laughter, and her sister's voice continuing her Instagram live stream. Linda quietly opened the front door and surrendered herself to the night breeze. In Linda's luxury car heading south on Michigan Avenue, classical music played softly. Arriving at the restaurant, service director Michael Moran greeted her with a warm smile. Every gesture of his exuded the refinement befitting a 3-Michelin-starred restaurant. "Let me show you to the chef's table." Ascending the spiral staircase, they reached a glass-enclosed private dining room, a premium seat with a panoramic view of Chicago's night skyline. On the table, pure white linen was elegantly spread, and baccarat crystal glasses sparkled. "We understand you're dining alone this evening," Michael's voice carried remarkable warmth and kindness. Yes, today is my birthday. At those words, Michael's expression softened for a moment. Then allow me to suggest a wine worthy of this special celebratory evening. The chef sommelier presented a 1988 Romanée-Conti, a wine from Linda's birth year. The deep red liquid being poured into the glass sparkled like a jewel in the chandelier light. 1988 was a wonderful year. Linda smiled slightly at the sommelier's words. Before her father passed away, the family would always dine at this restaurant for her birthday. Back then, her mother remembered Linda's preferences and would always order chocolate soufflé for dessert. The appetizer arrived, a harmony of truffles and caviar. Each delicate plating contained the chef's heartfelt dedication. This is a special celebratory dish from the chef. Course after course of culinary artistry arrived, each dish's beauty warming Linda's heart with the sincerity poured into it. Suddenly, her smartphone vibrated. A notification from her sister's Instagram. She couldn't help opening the screen. One upload after another showed the luxurious party, her mother's elegant smile, her stepfather raising a champagne glass, her sister's beaming grin. Only Linda's image was missing from the posted photos. The comment section overflowed with envious voices. The contrast between her seemingly happy family dancing across social media and the quiet dinner table before her stabbed at her heart. Yet strangely, her heart felt unexpectedly calm. A toast to your birthday, Michael said while pouring new champagne, Dom Perignon Rose, the same brand being served at her mother's party. But somehow, here, it seemed to shine differently. Did you know? Michael continued, they say champagne bubbles are a sign of happiness. At his words, Linda's eyes unexpectedly moistened. Warm wishes from strangers. It felt like genuine affection, something she had never once received from her family. The main dish arrived, perfectly cooked A5 Wagyu beef. Each accompanying organic vegetable was carefully prepared. Actually, all the kitchen staff prepared a birthday card for you, Michael said. The card he presented contained handwritten messages from every staff member, including the chef. At these heartfelt birthday wishes from strangers, large tears fell from Linda's eyes. Her smartphone vibrated again. Another notification from her mother's Instagram. Stories of the jewelry collection debut party were being uploaded one after another. Linda quietly turned off her phone. Outside the window, Chicago's night skyline glowed deep blue. Willis Tower, John Hancock Center, and the new buildings she had helped design all stood quietly, as if watching over her. 35 years of life. I've brought your dessert. It was chocolate soufflé, the taste of birthdays once shared with her father gently returned. A birthday song from all the restaurant staff. The moment she received heartfelt wishes from others for the first time, it became her warmest birthday memory yet. Did you enjoy your special evening? Michael smiled kindly as she prepared to leave. Yes, Linda replied, it was the best birthday of my life. Getting into her car, she quietly started the engine. At the Sheridan Road mansion, the party was reaching its end. Ashley, can you call Linda? Linda said elegantly, letting her Cartier bracelet sparkle in the chandelier light. The kitchen, lined with empty Dom Perignon bottles, was scattered with leftover high-end French catering. Yes, I'll call her. She's probably working upstairs as usual, Ashley said as she climbed the spiral stairs, her Dior heels clicking. Robert was still engrossed in conversation about luxury cars with his investment associates. Linda, could you help with the cleanup? Ashley's voice trailed off. No one was in the upstairs hallway. Mai, what's wrong? Linda came up the stairs. The baccarat chandelier's light reflected off her new necklace, casting broken patterns across the wall. Linda's not here. Well, running away? That's not like her. Just then, their stepfather's voice rang out from the living room. Linda, Ashley, come here, right now. His tone lacked its usual composure. When the two hurried downstairs, they saw it, a single sheet of Crane Company's finest paper placed neatly on the living room table. The ink flowed in Linda's familiar handwriting, drawn from her father's Montblanc fountain pen. A quiet, elegant spell, yet powerful enough to shatter everything this family had built on illusion. Linda's hands trembled as she picked it up. To Mother, Ashley, and Robert, until now, I have kept silent to protect the family. However, tonight, while celebrating my 35th birthday alone, I made a decision. Ashley caught her breath. Regarding Ashley's company, behind the glamorous social media posts lies a business in serious crisis. As of today, I am terminating all the secret financial support and client introductions I have provided. The iPhone slipped from Ashley's hands and clattered to the floor. Her latest post, still glowing on the screen, now looked like a cruel joke. Regarding Mother's real estate company, I have submitted all evidence of fraud and tax evasion from the past 3 years to the authorities. The fake transactions conducted under my name will also come to light. Color drained from Linda's face. Her hands shook violently as she held the letter. Regarding Robert's investment firm, evidence of client fund misappropriation has already been submitted to the SEC. The truth behind the documents I signed as the nominal responsible party will be revealed. Robert dropped his whiskey glass. The crystal baccarat crystal shattered on the marble floor. Just then, Ashley's phone began vibrating uncontrollably. Notifications poured in, her follower count dropping by the second. Someone had begun exposing the truth behind her posts. Her influencer career was crumbling before her eyes. My 100,000 followers. Linda's phone began ringing too. Chicago's largest real estate brokerage. A cold voice on the other end announced immediate contract termination. From the study, Robert's private line lit up, investor inquiries flooding in like a breached dam. The keys to his Bentley slipped from his trembling hands and fell with a metallic clang. Linda looked down at the last line of the letter. It sparkled beneath the chandelier's glow. This is my final gift to you. That night, a silence unlike any before fell over the Sheridan Road mansion. No more laughter, no more pretense. Only the truth remained etched in ink, carried on Crane Company's finest cotton paper. The next morning, the front page of the Chicago Tribune read, "Fraud uncovered, shocking Chicago's elite." Suddenly, Linda's mother's real estate business began to fall apart. Longtime clients left. Her fancy office in a rich neighborhood was now closed, with a sign on the door. Ashley's Instagram followers dropped by the thousands within hours. Luxury brands canceled their deals with her. People started making fun of her online. At her stepfather Robert's investment company, government agents showed up to investigate. News cameras surrounded the building. Rich clients in luxury cars never came back. CNN aired the family's downfall on live TV. The scandal spread fast. Their powerful image was destroyed overnight. Linda's phone filled with angry voicemails. Friends who once praised her now wanted nothing to do with her. Her weekend parties stopped. No one returned her calls. Ashley's credit cards were shut off. Her fancy hotel booking disappeared. With her influencer career over, her bank account was almost empty. Robert's investors pulled out their money. His collection of expensive cars was taken away by tow trucks, one by one. That night, under the light of a fancy chandelier, the three of them sat in silence. Linda still wore her expensive suit but looked lost. Ashley couldn't bring herself to read the hateful comments online. Robert stared at the ceiling with an empty bottle nearby. Then, the butler, who had worked for them for years, came in quietly. "Madam, I'm sorry, but I must resign today." His words broke the silence. Outside, the soft spring wind blew. Their rich, flashy life had fallen apart like a sandcastle washed away by the tide. 1 year later. "Ms. Walker, the Forbes interview team is here," said her secretary, Sarah. Linda was about to be on the magazine's cover as Chicago's most influential woman architect. "How's the Asia project coming along?" Linda asked. "All set, Singapore, Tokyo, and Shanghai," Sarah replied. In just 1 year, Linda's firm had grown fast. They were making 3 times more money and had twice as many staff. The company now filled 2 full office floors. Still, the kindness in Linda's eyes hadn't changed. "Are we ready for this weekend's foster care event?" "Yes, we're expecting 30 children." On her desk sat a photo from Christmas at the foster center. Linda was smiling with the kids, a true, happy smile she'd never had before. Meanwhile, in a small apartment outside Chicago, Ashley quietly made coffee in a tiny kitchen. She had only a few thousand followers now, Her influencer job was gone. She worked weekends at a local cafe. Linda sat on an old sofa, wearing clothes from a discount store. Her real estate license had been taken away. She had no friends left. Robert spent his time playing chess in a nearby park. His luxury cars were gone. Now he drove an old Toyota. On their table lay an envelope from Linda. She still sent money every month to help them. Even though their pride was hurt, they couldn't pay rent without her. Back at her office, her designer Nigel approached. "The Wall Street Journal wants to interview you about your family." Linda shook her head gently. She had a drawer full of letters from her mother, full of apologies and kind words. But she still wasn't ready to believe them. That evening, Linda walked down Michigan Avenue. Tulips were blooming, just like the year before. She had just finished a big meeting at Willis Tower. "Linda," called Mary, the director of the foster center. "The kids can't wait for the Thanksgiving party." Spending time with the children had become the best part of Linda's life. Through them, she had learned what family truly meant. "Tomorrow is my 36th birthday," Linda said with a smile. Mary smiled back. "We've planned a special surprise." The next day at the foster center, the room was full of color and laughter. Decorations hung on the walls. "Happy birthday, Linda," the kids shouted. They rushed over, holding handmade cards. "I made the cake. I picked the flowers. I chose the candles." Their joy filled the room. A little girl tugged on Linda's sleeve and said, "I'm so happy I met you." Tears slid down Linda's cheeks, not from sadness, but happiness. Outside, the soft wind blew. On the top floor of Willis Tower, blueprints danced in the breeze, plans for a new foster care center. Linda had made a choice. She would use her talents to build better futures for these children. As the stars came out, Linda smiled, not because of money or fame, but because she had finally found where she belonged. The old letters from her family stayed in her drawer. Maybe one day she would write back. But for now, she was happy. She had found her real family, a family built on love, not lies.